Hi there, and welcome to Hectic Eclectic. Today I'm reviewing Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerri Maniscalco. In case you haven't heard anything about Stalking Jack the Ripper, it is a historical fiction murder mystery set in Victorian London, and we follow a 17-year-old girl named Audrey Rose Wadsworth who happens to have an interest in forensic science. And for those of you who don't know, forensic science wasn't exactly an acceptable profession for women at that time. So while she is becoming an outcast from society because of her interest in forensic science, it just so happens that Jack the Ripper has started his murder spree. And the story takes us on Audrey Rose's journey to find out who is Jack the Ripper. The thing I loved most about this book was the character development. I adored the way Audrey Rose developed throughout the story. Her changes were subtle and realistic, and they definitely changed in accordance with the way the story developed. Now, you have to understand, I didn't really like her to begin with, even as I understood why she was the way she was because of society and her culture and the time period in which she was living. However, based on the changes that happened to her personally throughout the book, I loved her by the end of the story. As a woman, I love historical fiction because it makes me so angry. I look at the way society used to treat women and the restrictions that were put upon them, especially when they were of a finer stock as opposed to being a plebeian, and it completely enrages me. I want to be able to jump into these books and just tell everyone off. Yet that is the reason I love them so much, because they invoke an emotional response from me, and this book did not disappoint. The world building in this book is very good, immersing the reader right back into historical London. It's complete with societal expectations, it's blatant gender inequality, and wonderful means of subterfuge. Things are so much more interesting when certain restrictions are placed upon the characters, and it made this story so much more interesting to read. The one thing that really bothered me about this book was how quickly I deduced who the murderer was. And that's really disappointing because the whole point of this story is to figure out who it is, and yet by page 100, I already knew who the killer was. Perhaps I should have then looked at why the murderer was killing people, but I didn't care anymore. All I could think about was why no one else in the story could figure out who the murderer was. But it was likely the manner in which the character was approached in the story that allowed me to determine who it was so quickly. And no, I don't read mysteries very often, so it's not like I'm very well practiced in determining the murderer. Now, even though I knew who the murderer was for 2/3 of the book, it really didn't bother me because this is still a very fun book to read, so I rate it 4 stars. I highly recommend it for anybody who really loves character development or enjoys a good historical fiction. Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerri Maniscalco was published back in September, so if you want to read it, go pick up a copy. Or if you've already read it, let me know what you thought in the comments below. And if you like this book review, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week with another video on Hectic Eclectic. Bye!